You cheated on me.
I'm like, oh my goodness. Like,
but you didn't apologize. You didn't apologize.
Because I didn't do it.
I would wake up and I'd have to breastfeed the baby. Just seeing you sleeping there so peacefully. You know what? Elbow. Because I'd be so angry. And in reality, you weren't doing nothing but sleeping there. Welcome to the Hey There Parenthood podcast. I'm Jeena.
Hey, I'm Drue.
And Hey There Parenthood is a podcast that fosters a diverse, inclusive village for raising confident, loved children.
I agree.
Oh, baby, it's not going to be like that today, is it?
Yeah, exactly. It is.
Oh, man.
I'm tired today, guys. I am exhausted. This has been a long week.
Extremely long week. Oh, you know what's crazy too? We had, was it that thunderstorm?
That thing was crazy.
All of our kids came into our room. I think there was only one kid. Panda came in our room?
He didn't come in our room, but he said he was awake all night because of the thunderstorm.
Oh my goodness. I don't think everyone's kind of been off because we're all just so tired, exhausted. I took a nap yesterday. I don't take naps. Like ever since I've been eating the right way and I've been taking less naps. And now that...
yesterday it was like 4 p.m. It's like, okay, let's go to bed. Like everybody... Get ready for bed. We're exhausted. And
poor Tiger's like, going to bed? Like, why? I'm like, because we're all tired. You're not tired? We're tired.
What's funny is like we were ready for bed at 4 p.m. and the kids, for the most part, didn't get to sleep till 9 p.m. And then Penguin from 9 to 10 went and go to sleep. And you had to take over at like 10:15 p.m.
Because you walked out there and you're like, I'm done.
I was like, oh my goodness, I can't take this. I just walked out, and then while you were putting Penguin to sleep, Panda came in our room about 10:30. He's like, Dad, what do I do? I left the room because I couldn't handle the crying anymore because they're sharing a room. And I was like, look, grab a blanket from the linen closet, go lay on the playroom couch. You'll be good to go.
Which he did do that. But then as soon as Penguin started calm down, because I just explained to Penguin, I was like, look, Dad's not coming back because he wants you to put him in bed every single night. But
then I go to put him to bed and he doesn't go to sleep. He
sleeps for me because I looked at him and was like, look, I understand you're sad and angry. That is totally okay. Mommy will hold you while you cry and yell, but I'm not getting Dad. You're not getting out of this bed. We're going to sleep. And so if you need to be able to scream for 30 minutes, I told him, if you need to just scream, go ahead and scream. I'll just sit here, and when you're done, I will cuddle with you and go to, help you go to bed. And so he, screamed some more, kicked the wall, and then he's like, will you cuddle with me? I was like, of course. Of course. And so I was like, here, come in here.
After 30 minutes yelling, I don't want you. I want Dad. I don't want you. I want Dad. I was just like, oh my goodness.
So that was just a lot. It was rough, but
I'm happy you took over though. I was appreciative of that because I was like, oh, thank you, Jeena. I just needed to walk away and cool down.
Well, today's episode is all about navigating disagreements.
Yay.
Which I feel like we
will agree to disagree.
That is his favorite thing to say.
Yes.
All the time. We'll agree to disagree. And it's just like,
that's it. It's a win-win.
That's the opposite of agree to disagree.
You get your opinion and you get to agree that you won and that you're right. And then I get my opinion and I get to agree that I won and I'm right.
That's not what that means. That's not what that means.
That's pretty much what that means.
Y'all tell us in the comments what you think agree to disagree, that truly means. Because what Drue, the definition he just gave, ain't it. It's not.
Okay. I'll agree to disagree. See? You're right and I'm right. It's the best of both worlds.
Drue, do you have anything to share with us today?
Yes. I am so excited for my segment today. It comes from, of course, the internet, CNBC.com. The income that a family of 4 needs to have to live comfortably in the United States. And it breaks it down by state. So do you want to take a guess? We're in Georgia. Do you want to take a guess if we were a family of 4, which we're almost double this? If we were a family of 4, how much would we need in the state of Georgia to live comfortably?
190?
Higher.
210?
Higher.
No. Okay. I give up, baby.
You were close. 212. $212,826.
For a family of 4?
A family of 4. That's one mom or dad or mom.
Why'd you say this?
I don't know.
You could have just said one parent and another parent.
It's 2 parents. I'm trying to stay hip and up with the kids, you know? It's it's 2 parents and 2 kids. That's it. $212,000. Not surprising, a majority of that comes from childcare.
How much is childcare?
Let me see if they break it down in here. I can tell you the most expensive place to live. There's 5 that they rank the top.
Hawaii
is the second. Hawaii is the second most expensive place to live.
Yes. Okay. California.
That is number 5.
Dude.
California is the 5th most expensive place to live. You're hitting all in the top 5 though. Keep going. Let's see if you can get all 5.
Like Maryland?
Nope. They are 2 are in the Northeast.
2 in the Northeast. Oh. Massachusetts or Connecticut?
Massachusetts is number 1. $301,000 to live in Massachusetts for a family of 4.
Wow.
Who makes $300,000 on average? How do people live in Massachusetts? I thought it was going to be California because you always hear about California prices and stuff.
Really? Massachusetts?
Yep. Massachusetts is number 1. Hawaii, number 2. Connecticut, number 3, which surprised me.
That surprises me.
New York is number 4 and California is number 5. To define comfortable living, your budget needs to cover 50, 30, 20. 50% of your earnings towards housing and utilities, 30s towards discretionary spending, and 20 for savings. So that's the other thing. With the $212,000 that we have to make every year, well, that's only to feed 2 of our kids and ourselves. 20% of that is savings as well. So if you're not putting any savings, you could cut that by 40,000. Like if you're not putting anything away in savings,
that sounds horrible because obviously we do know, we know that we need
have
savings.
To have savings, yes.
Because as soon as you have an emergency, then boom, you're using credit cards, or you're going without something that.
Yeah, it's gotten so bad. Like cost of living, I believe for us, it's gotten so bad that I used to not so much tell the difference between like going to Publix and going to Kroger. Like price wise, like I knew there was a price difference, but like going to Publix and like break the bank. Now, especially since we're going to Aldi's more, if you go to Publix and spend $100 and you go to Aldi's and spend $100, you have like a full grocery cart versus 1 bag of groceries. It is so crazy.
I've always noticed the difference. I think the reason why you never noticed the difference before is that you don't go grocery shopping as often as I do. That's why you don't see me go to Publix as much.
You may have a good point on that. So I'll give you a better point. Okay. Because this is my segment, you know? I'll give you a better point. Taco Bell. 1 taco is $2. 1 taco is $2. That is insane. Insane. I just want you young whippersnappers out there to know that we used to get a taco for $0.25.
What did you just call them?
Whippersnappers. I'm getting into my old man era.
Is that a Southern thing?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I don't know where it comes from. It's what my dad would say.
Okay. Oh, your dad is also the guy.
But yeah, the least expensive is Mississippi at $177,000 per year. They did do the annual wage for workers in these states. Right? So we're just going to do lowest and highest. Well, one of the highest. It doesn't match. And so if you're feeling like a financial crunch or burden right now, like there's a reason. Mississippi was at $177,000 per year. The median annual wage is $37,000.
So technically that family should be in a polyamory. Like
they need
3 parents.
Both parents need to work and both of those kids need to work. And they'll get really close to what they need to survive. They'll actually be under. If both parents work and both kids work, they'll still be under. Let's go to New York because we know wages are higher there. It is $278,000. The medium income there is $56,000. So again, both adults would have to work, both kids would have to work,
and they still will fall
and
short.
they still would fall short. So, yeah, all I can say is just keep trucking along and
Don't
do
say
the
that.
best you can get.
No, that's horrible.
I mean, I don't know, like,
it's just hard.
it's hard. You have to like you were saying, we don't do Publix anymore. We only do Aldi's.
Yeah.
Because and we'll probably start leaning more into like Costco and bulk buying and stuff
Again,
and
yeah.
meal prepping to cut costs, because it's just like that's where a majority of our budget is going, is to food. So that's my segment.
Okay. Just made me super sad.
Don't be sad. I mean, we know like inflation goes up and it goes down and stuff like that, but
It hasn't. When is the last time it went down?
I don't know.
Okay, so we know inflation goes up. We know inflation goes up, and like that's really hard because it's like really you're just looking at it just increasing, and so then you think about other people who may not have the privilege or the opportunity to go back to school to potentially increase their wages. Then they're stuck in that.
Yeah.
So then it becomes this perpetual kind of thing. So you're kind of saying like, all right, just keep trucking along. Ain't nobody want to hear that.
Yeah.
Like no one wants to hear keep trucking along, because the keep trucking along is not going to make things better.
Right. I can give advice on, I do know that money affects relationships and like disagreements in relationships.
Okay, nice segue there.
You're welcome. It's one of the main things that will like break relationships is surrounded around money and stuff like that. So if you're having scarcity and you're worried about buying food, paying the house bill, all that stuff, that's just added stress in your life that's going to pretty much increase, I think, the amount of disagreements you could have. Just the stress level makes everything harder.
I'm trying to remember, because the times that we argued the most about money must have been like early in our marriage. Do you remember any of those arguments?
About money? I mean, I feel like early marriage, we didn't have a lot of choice as far as like budgeting goes. We were just in survival mode. So there wasn't much to argue about as far as like myself and you. I do know we argued about lending family money eventually.
Because we didn't have any money, and then we were still expecting us to be like,
we were still helping people out.
And we're like, you guys understand that we've got like 2 babies.
But I still think those disagreements increased as we got into like this medium point of like, we're out of survival mode and we're making enough to pay the bills. And we're finally getting to this point where we do have some discretionary spending, and then we're trying to help family out there, and it's cutting into like the things that you want to start really focusing on, like mid to late 20s and early 30s, retirement, insurance. You start like having more health issues, kids. So like you want insurance for
all the kids' activities and stuff like that, that I feel like our kids shouldn't be missing out on stuff like that.
I feel like that's where most of our arguments over money came from, because you were always great when I was like, hey, we need a budget more. This needs to be our budget. Like you didn't like it. You're like, ugh, like budgeting.
But I would.
But it didn't cause like heated arguments, or we didn't go to bed angry at each other.
Not about money.
It was really just, where do we prioritize putting our money, I think caused the biggest disagreements with us when it came to like helping family out, helping friends out, that kind of stuff.
Do you feel like we have disagreements often? I would say, I feel like you would say yes, and I would say no. But the reason for that is because of our personalities.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a problem like having disagreements. Like if something's bothering me, I'll be like, okay, well, let me figure out what I want to say, and then I'll like come to you about it. While you will avoid it like the plague. Like you just won't. You just, all right, well, let's let a couple days boil over.
I've learned to like pick my battles too. I've gotten a little bit better at picking my battles.
Pick your battles. You just decided not to go and wave the white flag. Maybe not even wave the white flag. You're like, I'm not gonna show up. That's you. That's you. I mean, and it's not
you can't shoot me on the battlefield if I'm not there. Like, come on, guys.
Knowing your personality and knowing that you would say no, I feel like yes. Do you feel like we should just meet in the middle? Because I do feel like we do have disagreements.
Like, I think we have disagreements, like, there's different degrees of disagreement. So that's hard. Like, if you're talking any disagreements, I feel like at least minimum once a week, we're coming to an issue on something of like if you're talking about any disagreement at all, like, oh, we forgot to take out the trash, or we didn't, me and the kids made a complete mess and we didn't clean up, and like it looks like a bomb went off in the house, and
it looks like
a glitter bomb
all the time.
And so, not all the time. And then, like, so I think that would be a disagreement of, you're like, Drew, hey, like, we've talked about, like, if we're doing activities with kids, like, we need to clean up afterwards. And I'd be like, yeah, but it was just, we were so tired, or all that stuff. Like, do you count that as a disagreement?
Yes and no. Yeah. Yes and no. Like,
Here's one I think a lot of couples may or may not, at least if you're a family of more than one person, leaving the toilet seat up. If you left the toilet seat up and you like sat in the toilet water and you came at me, would you consider that a
You've done that to me once, and I was pregnant, and it was not a good scene. I don't remember which kid I was pregnant with, but I went to go pee, fell
Badger.
in. What was it, Badger? Oh man, I'm glad you can laugh about it now. But I was so pissed off because it's not like, okay, my butt is wet and I can easily get out of the toilet. I'm pregnant. I carry all belly, all out. So I'm my center of gravity is off, and I'm stuck in that toilet. So now everyone has a picture of me, my booty stuck in that toilet water. Like, it was the worst. So I think that's been maybe the couple times you've done that I've like haven't caught it.
That's the only one time I can remember that actually happening. I mean, there's times I leave the seat up, but you falling in, there's only one time I remember. But would you consider that a disagreement if you came to me after that and said, Drew, I've told you, like, don't leave the toilet seat up. I just fell in the toilet. You
know what? Okay, this is how I would count it as a disagreement. How we respond afterwards, like both of us. How you respond, how I respond. So me coming to you, like, I can't believe you did that. Like, you left the toilet seat up. If you're like, oh my goodness, baby, sorry, I didn't mean to. Like, hey, I'm sorry you fell in. Maybe we laugh about it. Yes, I was angry, right? But then we kind of like leave it there. Then no, I would not count that as a disagreement. Although,
so you would count a disagreement as like two conflicting views.
Yes. So then if you were to come to me and be like, Jeena, it was an accident. I didn't mean to. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, you should have seen it. Heck yeah, that would be a disagreement right there. Because
I did want to buy a glow-in-the-dark toilet seat for you.
You did buy.
What was that last year?
You did. You bought me one about a year. Was it? No, it's been 2 years now.
2 years?
Yeah. My big booty broke the first toilet seat. I wasn't paying attention, and I was so tired. I think it was because
I blame the builders, because it's just when we had bought our new house.
Oh, true.
And like, they always give you the cheapest of the cheap stuff when you move in, so...
But I sat down, and the toilet seat, it was like a little off. It was like off traction. But I sat on it, and when I was like sitting, I think I was just going to pee. This is a lot. But I fell off, and then I fell off. And Drew was like, don't worry, babe. Like, I'll get you a toilet seat. And then he went to Home Depot and came back, and you came back with a glow-in-the-dark toilet seat. And yeah.
Yeah, that way you could always see it. You never have to fall off again. I was being kind and considerate, getting you a glow-in-the-dark toilet seat. But and if you guys are wondering, that's how, like, I feel like that's one way you go from your 20s to your 30s, is when you fall off the toilet seat.
You can fall off the toilet seat in any time. That is not an age, thing.
Okay.
What? You think a 20-year-old can't fall in?
Not in, off.
Okay, fall off? I was 20 when I was pregnant with Badger.
Yeah, that's falling in. You didn't fall off.
Okay, you know what?
You had good aim then. If you had been 30, you would have hit the edge and been okay.
Drew.
I do have a disagreement to talk about. We just had one yesterday morning.
What was it?
Where Drue. You want to tell them about Drue?
Oh,
I got to roll our Drue.
Drew cheated on me in my dreams. And I was so angry. I woke up so angry. And then I told Drew But I told him right when it like happened. This is the night when the whole thunderstorm. So what ended up happening, I'm not going to tell you what happened in the dream, but I was so angry at Drue in the dream that as soon as I was about to go off on him, right, because I caught him, I woke up.
So that she could take it out on the real Drue.
So I woke up and then I tried to tell Drue, like, oh man, Drue, like, I'm so... like my emotions are all over the place. We're still in bed and it's like 3:00 in the morning. I'm like, my emotions are all over the place. I had a really bad dream. And so I tell him the whole dream, knocked out. So, so then in the morning, like we get ready. I don't know. We had a meeting. I forgot who we had a meeting with, but we had a meeting. And then later on that day, I was like, Drue, I just feel so off and I feel like emotionally drained. It's been a really draining day. Been sitting in meetings all day. And I'm like, and I'm just so angry. And I tell him all the other things that was bothering me. But I was like, yeah, but I think the true problem was like what you did. And he's like, what are you talking about? What did I do? Would you tell me that you thought...
I can't even remember now. There's like a couple things. I was like, is it this? Is it that?
And then all of a sudden, it's like, no, it's what you did in the dream. You cheated on me.
And I'm like, oh my goodness. Like,
but you didn't apologize. You didn't apologize.
Because I didn't do it.
Drew, that's not the point.
Nothing.
That's not the point.
Me and Drue are two different people. Okay? I'm not responsible for what he does in your dreams.
Yes, you are.
No.
Yes, you are. The sympathetic thing would be, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I would never do that to you. You didn't say none of that. You're like, that's not me. That's not what I want to hear at that moment.
Because I would never do that to you, Jeena, because I've never done that to you.
All it would have taken was, babe, I'm so sorry you had a really tough dream. I'm sorry that it's been affecting you all day. I would not do that to you. What can I do to help you? You didn't do none of that.
Jeena, I am
No. I gave you the plan. You can figure it out the next time. Use it to learn from the next time you does something, okay? Because now's not the time. It's already done. I already figured it out. I did the work myself. You figure it out next time who does something. No, thank you.
Oh, man.
Do you feel... Okay, so now that we talked about one of the times that we've disagreed and have arguments, do you feel like it's healthy to have disagreements and arguments in your relationship? Like, do you feel like...
I would say disagreements, yes. Arguments, no.
There's a difference?
Yes. I would say there's a difference.
What's the difference?
Disagreement is like where we just disagreed on if Drue really like is me or not. I would say an argument is where like things escalate to that next level of like emotions get out of hand. Maybe you say things that you don't mean, or you start incorporating other things, personal attacks. In my head, that's what an argument is. I think everybody's going to define arguing as different things. Maybe disagreements as different things, and maybe like you, I think is what you're getting at is you combine both of them into the same thing to you.
I don't know if I would... I would say that they're the same. Maybe I would. I don't know. It's hard because a disagreement, maybe it's like the topic. Maybe it's the topic. Like a disagreement is something smaller and like we probably will never come back to it, or probably will never affect our families or our relationship as much. But a argument is like bigger. So it's not really like the words that are being said, but like maybe the impact of like whatever we're arguing about.
Okay. Yeah, like that next level. Like there's heightened emotions. You can't just walk away and act the same. Like you can't walk into the next rooms, come immediately back, and then be all cheery again. Or like there's like a lingering
I don't know
effect.
if I could do that for disagreement, because I'm just going to be honest with you. The disagreement and the argument, I'm telling you that they're different, because remember how like we have this thing, like we always strive to be extremely respectful when we're disagreeing or having an argument. Yeah. So we try not to say things that we don't actually mean. And when I say like we try, I mean I can count on like on one hand how if we've ever said anything like we really did not mean. Like we're not saying things just to get someone to other person to hurt. where we don't use certain words. We don't cuss at each other when we're having a disagreement or anything like that. Like, that is like big no-nos for the both of us. And so we don't do that in disagreements. We don't do that in arguments. And so for me, the difference in how we talk to each other, not really a big difference between, because I feel like we're always respectful to each other for both. So that's why I feel like it's more about the topic. Don't who? Yes, a disagreement. A big argument would be money, because that affects our relationship, that affects our family. So not the way that we're talking to each other.
Okay.
It's more the topic.
Okay. Yeah, I understand that. At this point, I don't think disagreements or arguments are bad for a relationship. I think it's what comes after them and how you handle them. Before therapy, I would say yes, arguments are bad for relationships. But I realize that's just from how I grew up. And like, whenever there was an argument in my household, give it maybe a month or two, or what I would consider argument in my household, give it maybe a month or two, and we were moving. Like, we were changing parents were splitting, there's divorce happening. So like, and I'm not sure if that's because I didn't see the smaller disagreements and arguments that were happening behind the scenes. And then it just built up to this point that I'm seeing like that everything looks fine. And then boom, one argument or disagreement, and then boom, life changes. And so I do know for me, like, I have trauma incorporated into like when we argue, and like I've had to work through that to where like an argument or a disagreement doesn't mean divorce. You know, and that's what like I personally have had to work through. So at this point, I can be comfortable saying, yeah, like I think disagreements and arguments are healthy for relationships, because if you're not having those, you're not truly communicating. Like, no, like if you are with your partner and you after 12 years, because we've been together 12 years, after 12 years, if we've never had a disagreement and argument, like I think that's impossible. I think that's impossible.
I don't.
For us to agree on every single thing.
Okay, I agree with you. But what I'm trying to say, I think the issue that I cringed at was, you feel like that's the only way to communicate. I don't think that's the only way to communicate.
I did not say that.
Okay,
I did not say that's the only way to communicate.
Do
I didn't say that's the only way to communicate. I said, if you're never having disagreements or arguments,
that means you're not communicating.
That means there's a, I'll clarify then.
Thank you.
That means that there's a piece of your communication that's missing.
In what way?
That you're not truly talking about things like in a deep way, or you're not talking about things that bother you with your partner, or you're not really expressing your own personal individualized views.
Okay,
like in my
I
mind, I'm kind of going extreme here on one side, right? Like I'm talking about like because just things happen. If I don't like mayonnaise and you put mayonnaise on my sandwich every day for lunch, and I never say anything to you about it because I don't want a disagreement or I don't want an argument.
Okay.
I
got you. I agree with you.
Internal strife that is eventually going to blow up.
Or maybe not.
Maybe not, but I guarantee you, like, nobody can hold that in for forever. Oh, what you got, Jeena? What you got?
I agree with you, and maybe I'm just trying to disagree.
I know, you're just trying to argue with me.
I'm not. So. I'm really trying not to, but I do. Like, again, I don't feel like I'm a person that like steers away from it, and so I am way more comfortable. I just think that when you say like, oh, it's because people aren't communicating, I think that you can. Like, it's not because people aren't communicating. I think maybe, I don't know. I'm gonna leave it because maybe I'm not fully, like, I maybe need to like sit on it a little bit longer.
Yeah. Like if you were to separate them and say like disagreement and argument, right? We talked about them being different topics. If you said, I think you could have a relationship without ever having an argument, I would agree with you. You probably can. But there's somewhere you're going to have a disagreement. Like your likes are going to change or be different somewhere.
Okay, I agree
just
with
as
you.
a human being.
Yes, I agree with you.
It's the honeymoon phase. When you first get married and you have 0 arguments and 0 disagreements, you're the honeymoon phase. And you have to move out of that eventually. You just
you have to move out of that eventually to have I would say, in my opinion, you have to move out of the honeymoon stage to have like a very good, long-lasting like marriage.
Yeah.
Because the honeymoon phase is great, and I love the honeymoon phase. But I would say I probably would prefer where we're at right now than the honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I know you more now than I ever did during the honeymoon phase. The honeymoon phase, I got like the best side of you, right? But we've talked about this in therapy. I often get sad when you feel like you can't share certain things with me, because I'm like, oh, I want to know that stuff, even if it's bad. That makes me feel closer to you. That makes me feel like I know you more than like anyone else. That makes me feel like I know something that no one else does, and that connects us in a certain way. And so I feel like I'm going to tear up, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to cry. I like us now more than the honeymoon phase. The honeymoon phase is great. Sex then, awesome. Sex now, better, right? But I just feel like everything, because like I feel like I know you. Like if I think about like what happened last night during the honeymoon phase, I would have with Penguin, and you have like having to leave. You're like, oh, can like deal with this. Like Penguin, I just need Penguin to go to sleep. Instead of like yelling at Penguin, you walked away, right, and then yelled away from him. And instead of like in the honeymoon phase, I think I would have been like, oh my goodness, like whatever. And I was just like, oh well, Penguin pushed Dad to the limits, and Dad had to walk out. So I guess like tag team, I'm gonna go in there. And I didn't think anything of it, because I thought, okay, like whatever. And like I think that's like the difference between like honeymoon, like for me, that's the difference between like honeymoon phase and like where we're at right now. Yeah, what phase would we call this?
The golden age. Like, isn't that like the golden bachelor, So yeah, I mean, but it's because we know each other so much better now than we did when we first got married. But that's also through some trial and error, and some disagreements, and some arguments, and some really hard times, and sometimes Saru messing me up, in your dreams. So I'll apologize for that, guy.
No, don't. No.
You see how I snuck that in there?
No. Oh my goodness. Ooh. Okay. I'm trying to think, what is our longest disagreement?
Oh man. I'm trying to think of one like that potentially we have still going on to this day, because I feel like there should be at least one.
Oh,
still going on to this day.
No marriage that doesn't have this one or two topics or like events that they continue to disagree about. And I'm trying to think of ours.
Okay, I'll spit one out, and I'm not sure if it aligns, but you tell me what you think.
Okay.
Mowing the grass. Okay, yeah, I was spot on there.
I don't know if I would count that as a big disagreement, because technically you did like finally just like did what I asked. Right? And I know you feel like you could do it, but I already know the answer is that no, you can't. Okay, here's our thing.
So it's still a disagreement, I would say.
Is it a disagreement for you? See, and that's why I don't feel like it.
I think it's a disagreement we resolved then, so then that wouldn't count. But I feel like that's a really long one that we've had. Is like whether I should cut the yard or we should get somebody to cut the yard. Okay. Y'all are going to look at me and be like, Giovanni, you should just let him cut the grass. I did. And then what would happen is Drew would complain about it. And then it would go on like weeks. Grass is getting higher. Drew would complain. Grass is getting higher. Drew would complain. Grass is getting higher. Drew would complain. And then he would go cut the grass, but they complain about it the whole time. And it's super high. So it's like deep due to 2 times. Because I got to hear about it, and then I got to hear about it on the day he's cutting the grass, because it's so much more difficult, because he let it be that way. You laughing throughout the whole time. But I pretty much just said, babe, before when you were complaining about it, we didn't have the money. First I want to do it. We got the money now. Can we just pay somebody so I don't have to hear you in our grass get cut? You know, it'd be really nice. If I was cutting the grass, someone would bring me out a nice cold iced cup of lemonade.
I did do that too. I did do that in the beginning of our marriage during our honeymoon phase. Yeah. And then I recognized, no, I don't need to do that no more. that you could find somebody to pay them. They have the equipment that they could get it done a lot quicker. You would spend the whole day. It would be your whole Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
We had like an acre.
I still feel like you feel pretty passionate about this.
Oh.
What about you? So I brought one up. What about you? Can you think of any, maybe longest disagreement?
I don't feel like I can think of one. I know we have a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we have those. I feel like I can count on two hands.
That's a pretty good one. We have some trivial and some big. I'm trying to think of one that like we haven't resolved or gotten to the point that like we're comfortable where we're at with it. I'm not sure.
Maybe
any are coming to mind.
I don't think so for me either. Which is sad because I know as soon as we walk out of here, it's gonna come right up. It's gonna come up and be like, we should have said it then, but I really can't think of it right now. What's the biggest topic that we disagree with?
I mean, for me, immediately it'd be like money and family. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if that's the biggest, if you'd consider that the biggest one. Like, I don't know. I've been brainstorming over here. It's your turn.
I know. Well, I probably would agree on the same one, like money and family. But that's also, we've talked about this. Like, that's because of how we were brought up. Mm-hmm. But also, too, like a lot of past, like, events that happened that I've just gotten to the point now where I just felt like, I feel like people have taken advantage of us, and haven't recognized like, hey, like through tough times, through good times, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what's happening in Drew and Jeena's life. We're just going to ask. And even if we would be like, hey, just so you know, like this is causing a lot of like strain on our family. You know, we're having to make a lot of sacrifice to be able to give you this. And the person would be like, take it. And then come back to ask us a couple of months later. And that was really tough on me because it felt like, it didn't feel like we were just giving money. It felt like more of like we were giving money and this person was recognizing how much it was causing us strain. And this person did not care about that. Mm-hmm. All they cared about was like what was happening in their lives. And so then I was like, oh my goodness, like you don't care about me or Drew. You don't care about like all of our children. Like all you care about is like getting this money. And it's not even like a one-time thing. Because I understand like everyone comes on hard times. But with this one particular person, it was constantly. Like it was every couple of months. And then even when I would personally say something or you would say something, this person just did not care. They would still come back and ask us every couple of months. And then I was like, okay, now I'm not even blaming this person anymore. I'm blaming you. You are recognizing, because it was like someone like you knew and you cared about. And I would be like, okay, do you realize the strain that it's putting on us? Like, I don't really care about this other person. I had hoped this other person would be able to see and recognize and like stop asking. Now I'm asking you and you couldn't either. And that was really hard for me. That it caused huge disagreements, like really, really big fights.
Yeah, I mean, it came down to a true disagreement where like you were very passionate one way and I was very passionate another way.
Mm-hmm. When's the last time you realized like we're gonna just be talking about the discuss phase?
Okay. Stressing me out over here.
Why?
No, I'm just playing. I'm just tired, honestly.
No, but
okay. You want to talk about the discuss phase?
Yeah.
We learned about the discuss phase when was it like probably 6 years? Like we never had a name for it or put anything to it or anything like that. But
when did we figure out the name? Like
I think it's about 6 years in. We were doing couples therapy. 6 years into our marriage, we were doing some couples therapy, and I think the therapist was just like, "Well, that's not absolutely," because we were just talking about like the issues that we were having or what was annoying us, and it was just like, oh my goodness, like just the way the person eats, the way they walk into the room, like the way they breathe. So like these are all
going
things
through my mind, right?
These are all what?
I drink a little more. I hate the way you walk, the way you talk. I hate the way you dress.
We should put the audio in here.
Oh
DJ, hit the music. No, I mean, those are things that you just have to do to live. Like, you have to walk around, you have to eat,
Do you
you have to
really?
breathe. Yes. But when we were talking this through with the therapist, she's like, have you guys, like, she didn't say we had it or we were there, but she's like, have you guys ever heard of the discuss phase? And we're like, no, what's that? So we started looking into it, and I was like, yeah, I think we're there.
I think
we're
I
there.
laughed about it because I was like, oh, okay, I guess that we're there right now.
How would you describe the discuss phase?
I would describe it as like something that you like actions or things of like your spouse that they would typically do. But now at this moment, for whatever reason, things that you normally loved about your spouse, little characteristics, little things like any little thing now annoy you to no end. So I would say Drew does this thing where even right now I'll see him do it where he like puts up his knees and cracks his ankles or something like that a lot. You guys will see it a bunch of times. And depending on where I'm at, yeah, you will. Depending on where I'm at, like during the discuss phase, I will look at Drew and be like, and Drew will be like, knowing that I'm doing it because he's doing just at that. And he'd be like, what are you talking about? Why are you looking at me like that? And I'm like, I know you know I'm like, whatever. But then now when I'm not in the discuss phase, he does it. I'm like, I notice it, but I'm like, oh, that's just Drew. And so like, that's the best way I can explain it.
But it's for like everything.
Every little thing.
Like, if you're in the room with that other person, it doesn't matter what they're doing. It just annoys the stew out of you. And you just like, you have to leave the room or ask them to leave the room, or it just like continues to build. And it was funny too, because the therapist actually said that couples that try to push through that, because one partner can be in the discuss phase while the other partner is not.
Which happens to us a lot.
And it does happen. And if the person that's in the discuss phase, if the person that's not continues to pursue them or push it or try to get closer, you know,
it makes it worse.
It makes it worse. And it just like, basically you just need a break is what it is.
So they said
like,
the person who's having it's going through the discuss phase, go take a break, go visit some friends, go on
what's
like
that
a
old
little
saying? Distance makes
the heart go stronger.
Yes,
It's probably
yes,
because of the
that's
discuss phase. But I remember they said like, hey, go take like a vacation with friends or by yourself. Don't try to push through it, or don't have like the person who is causing you all this animosity.
Well, just get out of the house, go to take a walk at the park, like
There's a little bit more than
anything
that.
you can do to just disconnect and get some space to yourself.
But I think also too, not only is it for the person who's going through the discuss phase, I think it's also for the person who's not. Because think about it, if I'm going through the discuss phase and you're like loving on me, and I keep like, why? Ew, everything annoys me about you. That's hard on you.
Heartbreak.
That's hard on you too. So I don't think it's only to serve the person who's going through the discuss phase. I think it also serves the person who's not going through it, so that they're not allowing something that I think, I don't want to say, maybe it is typical, but not that I think it's okay, right? Something that is very typical that happens in relationships doesn't make it okay that like I'm putting all this like anger towards you or frustration towards you, especially for things that like you're not doing anything wrong. Like when I tell you, when we would go through this, it would be like chewing something, or
it could be as simple as breathing.
Yes.
Like, I don't like the way you're breathing. I don't like the way that your chest moves up and down when you breathe. I don't know, how long do you feel like the discuss phase lasts? Is there, because I didn't do much research on it outside of just like recognizing what it was, maybe when it was happening, and then creating, you know, the space needed either for yourself or for myself to just kind of regroup and get past that point.
I don't know how long it lasts. I think it lasts, or it depends on a lot of factors. Like, I'm just putting like our life experience. When we had young kids and we weren't able to get away as easily, that disgust phase would last a lot longer. So if I was like, I know when's probably the longest time. right after we have a baby. Which I think it's like a normal physiological like reaction, because like right after like a woman just gives birth and she's just like naturally
biologically like, get away from me.
Yeah, and so focused on the baby that I would be like, I want nothing to do with you kind of thing, and like everything you would do would annoy me. I would wake up and I'd have to breastfeed the baby. Just seeing you, just seeing you sleeping there so peacefully, and I would be like, I'm like, sometimes I would be like, you know what, elbow or something, because I'd be so angry, and in reality, you weren't doing nothing but sleeping there horribly. That would be like probably the longest time I've had a disgust phase, and I say this, like how long it would take us to get out of it would determine how, like, our resources. If I couldn't get away because we had small kids or work or whatever.
Or couldn't get a break from taking care of the baby and breastfeeding and just being in that moment.
It lasted longer. And when I'm able to, like, hey, I just need a break. I'm going to go see some friends. I'd be like, okay, Drew, peace out. I'm going to go see Amy. I'll see you in like a week or so. I mean, I never took longer than a week and a half.
It was always planned. That's the thing too, is we did plan things out as well. It wasn't like normal life was happening and you recognize you're in the disgust phase, and then within the next hour you're gone for a week.
No, it would be planned.
You know, it would be planned out. Like, hey, I think I need some time to myself, or time away, or like a girls trip would be great right now. Wink, wink. You know, so yeah.
Yeah, so I think maybe that would be like the longest time. I don't know. But again, I feel like what I just got out of the disgust phase recently. Because I feel like a couple months ago, every single little thing that you did was annoying me. And when I tell you, it was like, logically, I know the things that he was doing were things that he's done every single day. Nothing wrong. I couldn't even like pinpoint it. It was like Drew's fault. I can say, yeah, like that was so wrong. I'll give you the reasons, and they were like nothing. But it was just something that like it bothered me so much. And then I knew, like, I remember even talking about it there, being like, what he's doing, nothing's wrong with it. I know that, but I can't not feel this way. And I don't remember what she said. I mean, I'm out of it now. And so I'm like, oh, like, Drew, all of the things Drew annoy me. Like, they would just annoy me. Like, they don't annoy me now. They make me laugh.
I feel like I may need to do some more research on it, because I don't want to be using it too lightly as far as like the disgust phase, that you can go in and out of it really rapidly.
No, I
or
don't
if it's
think...
like a larger phase, like the honeymoon phase is, I feel like most people think is like from a month to 1 year. Like it can last a month and be done, or it could last about a year and be done. I wonder if the disgust phase is the same way, where it has a certain period of time to be classified as disgust phase, or just being annoying. You know, like if I just do something that's annoying you one day and the next day it's fine, that wouldn't be a disgust phase. Like, how long would it have to go to classify you into the disgust phase? So I'd have to do more research on that.
Yeah, you can go do that.
Okay.
Living through it.
Sounds great. You have lived experience?
Lived experience, that's enough. Do you think we have... Okay, what are each other's triggers?
Just for disagreements and arguments?
Yeah.
Or what?
Do you feel like we have triggers? Or
I think what you're saying, or what I'm getting from it, is like, when you're saying triggers, is there something that I can do to make a disagreement or argument? Like every time I know I bring this up or do this, it's going to incite
a
disagreement,
I guess so.
argument.
Or things that we don't do. So like, I'm trying to think of like one around the house.
Trash would be... I can think of simple ones.
I don't think I see trash as a trigger for me. It wouldn't be like an
argument.
What was that?
Because I'm trying to think through like...
How to say it?
No, I'm just trying to make sure it's like accurate to what we're talking about. Like, as far as like...
I'm trying to think of... It's hard.
It is hard when you're not... Like, at least for Jeena and I, when we're not having a disagreement or argument, it's hard for us to get in that mindset of being disagreeable or argumentative with each other.
You don't think that would be for everybody?
Oh, maybe like my brother Justice. I feel like he's ready for an argument 100% of the
Why
time.
are you bringing him into this? He didn't do nothing to us.
Because it was recently his birthday.
Oh, yeah, true.
So I'm thinking about him. So, no, I think he's ready to go anytime. Like,
yeah, I guess. Okay. See, I was going to call him and his fiance out. I'm not going to pull Jarrett into this. Jarrett, I love you, Jarrett. I'm not going to do you bad like that. Not like Drew. I can't think of any. Like, I can think of triggers.
I can think of like if I don't tell you something.
Like you were saying earlier, a huge trigger for me.
You were saying earlier in the podcast and how you really value when I confide in you with information or my likes or dislikes and stuff like that. So I can say like, just taking that and the opposite of it, I do know that it really is a trigger for you. If like, and it could be something small. We had a little disagreement recently on the trampoline. It didn't last long or anything like that. Long, no. And it was resolved quickly, but that's because it was a small thing. But I could tell like you were actually irritated.
Yeah. Okay. So here's what happened. I'm not a huge fan of trampolines, right? But I have a lot of them. Like we've had them in the past. And when we moved to this current home that we're living in, we had a trampoline in our old house. We didn't bring it with us. We just left it. I think we sold it. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. But we haven't had it for the last 2-3 years now. And so Drew, I don't know. You still haven't explained to me how you found this free trampoline.
I told you it's just on the like community website.
Anywho, Drew found it, went and picked it up, did this all, and then never texted me about it. And this is the issue. Drew loves to text and he loves to talk on the phone. And you think I'm joking? Drew talks on the... Actually, anybody who knows me personally can tell you I hate texting and I hate talking on the phone. I will not do it often, right? And so it takes a lot to like be able to get me to sit down and like text you or call you. I love hanging out in person, but like texting and calling is just not my thing. Drew loves to do it. You see he's nodding head. He loves to do it. I don't think I've ever seen him walk in the house and not be on the phone. Because as soon as he gets in the car, he's like, let me think of who to call. Beep, 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 beep. Let's have an hour conversation on my way home from wherever.
Man, I got to catch up.
So Drew loves to talk on the phone, could not be bothered to tell me that he's picking up a trampoline. It's not like his phone got lost, phone died, no nothing.
It just happened so fast.
No, it didn't happen so fast because you still had time to message the lady, be like, hey, I'm coming up to pick up the free trampoline. And she's like, yes, of course. What time are you going to pick it up? I'll be there at this time. Then on your way home, you still pick somebody else to call. You didn't call me to tell me, hey, babe, I picked up the trampoline. You showed up at the house with the trampoline on the top of your Subaru, and that's how I found out about it. You laughing about it, but it's true. And so that's my trigger. Isn't the fact that he got the trampoline. It's the fact that he went the whole day and never say a peep until you got here. So then it makes me feel like you knew what I was saying. Babe, we don't need a trampoline. Did you really? I don't care that it's free. Right? You knew that was going to happen. So instead of just telling me and just like bossing up and like, okay, yeah, I know this is what happened, but I still want this trampoline. You ignored it and just like, well, you did this a lot too. Do it and ask for forgiveness. It's like do it and then ask for forgiveness later. What's the saying?
Oh, you've thrown me off. I feel like I had it in my head.
Ask now?
No. Oh my goodness.
What's the saying?
I think it's just like it is ask for forgiveness.
Later, something like that.
Oh my goodness.
So
I'm gonna have to look it up.
It's bothering me right now. But I think that's the issue that I have is like very often Drew loves to talk about anything and everything. And then you found my trigger. You were looking it up.
Better to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission.
Yes. Drew does that a lot. And when I say he does that a lot, you go to the grocery store. You don't know which one to pick.
I've gotten better at that though.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have.
You've gotten worse about it.
No, I haven't.
In the beginning of our marriage, you would text me all the pictures. I don't know which one to get. Now you don't do that.
What did I do? Talk about Publix here. Y'all know this is when we're splurging. What happened when I went to Publix yesterday?
Oh, about the wings?
Yeah. What did I do?
Okay, you did do that.
I video chatted you.
But when's the last time you did that beforehand?
It's been a while because I don't go like.
It's
We've
been a
gotten
while.
into a better
No, it's been a
grocery
while
shopping
because it
where
hasn't
we
happened in
do
a while.
Instacart a lot more now, so that we don't like aren't getting off our grocery schedule and all that.
Okay, I'm just gonna tell you now that's not the reason. You often will go to the grocery store and I'm like, hey, I want this. I sometimes will be specific, and then you won't call me to be like, hey, they ran out of this. You'll just be like, this is not fair because I need you to come up with a trigger. Go ahead, because now I seem
I'm
like
just,
the person.
I mean, you're just going off. I'm just listening over
I'm
here.
done.
You're just
I'm
going
done.
off over there. I think I hit a
Don't.
sensitive spot.
What?
I think I hit
You
a
what?
sensitive spot.
The way you saying it, I don't like the way you're saying that.
I love you. Where do I go from here? So as far as for me for triggers, I don't know. I mean, I was able to identify your trigger and tell you how I felt like, ooh, I know there's going to be argument or disagreement here.
When I criticize you or I bring up past things, that is a huge trigger for you.
Yeah.
Like I can't say like, hey Drew, like that you did that I did not like it. Automatic defensiveness.
Yeah.
Automatic trigger.
Yeah, if you came up and started a conversation with like, hey, I've told you to take the trash out before and you didn't take it out, it's automatically like,
Well, I've done it in the past. That's nice. This is now. I'm talking about now. If you want to bring up the past, I can tell you all the other times that I asked you and you haven't done it. And then maybe I just didn't come up to you and tell you like you didn't do it and just did it myself, like kind of thing. And so like that, it's like a huge trigger for you. I know that. And like I say like I recognize that, and I've also recognized that like the way I approach you has to be a little bit different, which I don't fully like, but I recognize the fact that if I want to be able to have a conversation with you, I have to bring it to you in a certain way so that you're not automatically defensive about it. And like that's more important than feeling. Not that it's more important. Maybe it is a little bit more important.
it almost sounds like a little bit of a pride thing. Like even for myself, like being able to recognize like when I don't tell you things and being able to come up and say, no, yeah, that was my bad. I did have, 12 hours to tell you about this trampoline I was looking at and stuff like that, even if it was a text, rather than just fighting against it and being like, no, you're being ridiculous. And I don't have to tell you every little detail of my life and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, but I think a lot of that just comes with trial and error through our relationship, having really great times like the honeymoon phase, having just different times like the discuss phase, and then having really low points of like, I don't know what you would call that phase of just intense disagreements and arguments where like, oh my goodness, like
it's more than the discuss phase. It's just like, yeah.
It's just like this a constant of butting heads.
Which we've been through that too.
Yeah, we've been through that. And then that gives us the experience to know each other so well that like I can pinpoint what your trigger is pretty quickly. You can pinpoint what my triggers are pretty quickly. And then like we either accommodate each other or we show love by being more considerate of each other's triggers and being more considerate of each other's feelings. And then just moving forward from there, with those in mind. Yeah.
So I'm going to go through rapid fire of like things would you tolerate or you feel like, yeah, I guess it's like not that bad.
All right. So I'm just saying yes, tolerate, or no, I'm not tolerate.
So yeah, I'm fine. If a word like bad, I don't like the word tolerate, but it is the word we're using. Okay. Tolerate, not tolerate. Like heck no, I would not be okay with that.
Okay. And
ready?
This is from you.
What do you mean?
Like you're going to do these things
to you,
to me, and I'm okay or not okay. Okay.
Not okay with it. You tolerate it. There's a difference.
Okay. I think I got it. Let's go.
Okay. Ready? Okay. Using someone's culture or race against them, like spicy Latina, angry black woman.
Against them? No, I wouldn't tolerate that.
Okay. Gaslighting or manipulating the truth to make the other person doubt their own perceptions or emotions.
These sound like a bunch of red flags. I wouldn't tolerate that.
Someone interrupting or talking over you. You do that a lot, and I tolerate it sometimes.
Yeah, I tolerate it.
Like I'm not okay with it, but I also recognize like Nope, we're just supposed to go through them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
Screaming matches, screaming your arguments back and forth at the same time.
I tolerate it.
Actually, this like matches what has actually happened in the past. I'm not tolerant of that, like at all. Do not do that. Someone refusing to respect your need for space or time to process your emotions.
I wouldn't want to tolerate it.
Yeah. No, you are the person that loves to walk away, and I always respect that.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. Bringing up past grievances or past mistakes as ammunition in the current argument.
I don't tolerate it.
I know you don't. Refusing to take responsibility for one's actions or apologizing for any harm caused, defensiveness, blame shifting.
And these are hard questions. I guess no. I'll pick one. Someone
invalidating your feelings or emotions. Ooh, this one. Personal attacks or insults aimed at appearance.
Have
I done that to you? I would
probably tolerate it, but we'd talk about it later.
Have I done that to you?
I don't know. I don't think so. We usually don't attack in disagreements or arguments. Like that's why it's hard to balance out for me. Oh. All right, what's the next one?
That's it. That's all we got. Yay. It wasn't too bad. I feel like people are going to be mad at the ones that were like, you would tolerate that?
I don't know. It's really tough. It's almost like tolerate doesn't mean it's okay, though, is the thing. Like,
yeah.
I'm not saying it's okay to have a screaming match and cuss each other out and stuff like that. But like if we did, I wouldn't feel like that's a deal breaker. Or I would feel like, okay, that's just something we need to work through.
Do you feel like because of the fact that we don't do that, or there has been very rare instances where that has happened, that's maybe why you feel like in your mind like, oh, I guess I would tolerate because of the fact that you're like, oh, it like I can count on one hand how much has happened in the last 12 years.
No, I think that's just because that's not a huge trigger for me.
Okay.
Like for me, if I was in a relationship that we were yelling at each other a lot or cussing in like a mean way at each other a lot, I think eventually I would get tired of it. But I think I would tolerate it in the beginning.
Really?
Because I would reciprocate. I would yell back and cuss back at the person. And like, I think some of mine comes to like the things I would be okay with someone yelling at me because I'd be okay with yelling back at them.
Do you feel like that also stems from like what has happened to us from childhood? Because like both of our parents like have had arguments, right? Like you've seen arguments between your parents, I've seen arguments between my parents. And then I took that as like, okay, whenever I have an argument with my spouse, we're going to be respectful. Not saying that we're not going to have arguments.
Right.
Because I already knew like that was going to happen, I guess, or that I was okay with that. But like in the way we would talk to each other would still be very respectful, right? And then you took it as a different way. Of like, hey, if like someone were to argue, because
from my parents.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I just saw my parents cuss and yell at each other, and sometimes throw things at each other, and like that's probably where my tolerance level would absolutely stop. It's like anything physical. So like if there's any ever slapping, hitting, like that kind of stuff, like I saw some of that too, and so that I got to see a wide range of different things. And maybe that's why, like, in my head, I built, like, this plan out of, like, oh, this is the threshold that I would be okay at. Like, I'd be okay at yelling at each other and verbal assault and stuff back and forth and needing to work through that. I wouldn't be okay with, like, any kind of physical abuse towards each other, slapping, hitting, like, pushing, that kind of stuff.
And my tolerance is even low because I'm
yours is even lower.
No words.
Because the other thing is I would be tolerant of is, like, punching a wall.
Oh, and I'm extremely not tolerant of that.
If you punch a wall, I'd be like, yeah, you were angry. Like, we'll fix the wall.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And your tolerance is a lot lower.
I'm like, no punching walls. No punching walls. No, like, attacking each other physically. No attacking each other. Like, no attacking each other. Like, trying to get a rise out of the person. Like, I'm not trying to say, like, I've never said anything that has made you angry. But I've never done it intentionally to do that. Like, it's like, oh, like, I'm really feeling this way. Like, if you did this, it made me feel this way. I need you to understand that. But I wasn't like, well, you're like this, and I can't even do it because I don't like it. I truly don't like it. All right, we're going to take a quiz, and it's, am I toxic?
Oh, do I need to take the same quiz?
Yeah, you have it pulled up?
Yeah, I can pull it up really quick. So is Jeena toxic? That's the quiz?
No, it's, am I toxic?
Oh, am I toxic? Okay.
Punk. Alrighty. How often do you begin arguments with your partner?
Rarely.
That's such a lie.
I rarely start them.
Drew, you remember what we talked about?
I finish them, but I rarely start them.
Okay.
Do you like spending time with your partner?
Oh, that's like 100%.
I'll see you every day. Do you spend time with your partner's family?
Sometimes.
I'm going to say not very often.
All right.
Do you listen to your partner's feelings and concerns?
Yes.
100%. All the time.
Yes, their feelings are and concerns are important to me.
Are you often frustrated with your partner or relationship?
Sometimes we fight a couple times a month, right?
That's what I put.
That's okay.
I mean, it could be different for you, but that's what I put.
And that's how I feel.
Do you engage in intimate moments with your partner? Yes. I can't keep my hands off of them.
That's
Do you think you'll
yell? Huh?
Go ahead.
Do you yell or raise your voice often at your partner? Here's the issue. I'm a loud person.
But it's not just are you loud, do you scream? That would be yours.
Do you feel like I scream?
Not often, no.
What is not often?
Like, I'm trying to think of the times I'm sure you've screamed. I think in more absolutes. I'm sure you've screamed at some point in our marriage, but like, if I'm thinking the last couple of years, I'm just not a screamer. I don't know. You have to answer for yourself. Do you think I yell or raise my voice at you?
No.
All right.
For you, I would put occasionally. I try not to yell.
Yeah, that's what I put. Do you support your partner's dreams and goals? Yes, I do. Do you think you're going to be toxic, Jeena?
I don't know. It's probably going to say I'm super toxic.
How often do you tell your partner that you love them? I do that a lot.
Every day.
Do you build your partner up with compliments or tear them down with insults?
I feel like I could do better about that. Like, I feel like I could.
I think same for me, but I feel like I could give you more compliments.
Does it count? Because I like to, we've gotten to the point in our marriage, I like to pick on you, call you a dad, but I don't think,
That's
I said
not
this
a compliment.
Last time. What? I think it's a compliment.
Oh, okay.
That's the thing, though. That's one thing that I recognize. I'll be like, I said it last time, you're like a TV dad, right? But I'm extremely attracted to that. That's the reason why I married you. I find that extremely attractive. The goofiness and stuff like that.
I don't know to be happy or sad about that.
Why? What would you be sad about that?
I don't know if I want to be a TV dad.
You are
I don't want to be boxed in. I don't want to be defined. I don't want to be, confined in a tiny little box.
Do you build your partner up with compliments or turn them down?
I put most of the time. There's a second one on there, most of the time, but I could do better.
Yeah, I think the same.
Which of the following behaviors could indicate that you might be the toxic one in the relationship? Communicating openly and listening actively, taking responsibility for your action and apologizing when needed, setting healthy boundaries and respecting your partner's boundaries, frequently criticizing, belittling, or controlling your partner. Don't answer.
Why?
Because we got to answer individually. That's you got to pick the bad one out of the good ones.
Yeah, I already picked one.
Okay,
what did you pick?
I picked one too.
Okay, tell me.
The last one. Criticizing.
You feel like you criticize me a lot and control me?
Sweetie, pick which one you think would be a red flag. Not which one you are, which one would be a red flag.
I didn't know.
You are a red flag. Which one did you pick?
I thought I was asking which one is more like you, and I said,
No.
I often like to take responsibility for my actions and apologizing when needed.
No, if your partner was doing one of those.
Oh, okay.
All right, what is a potential sign of toxic behavior in a relationship? So here's another one. It lists 4 things. You pick out the red flag or the toxic thing. Showing empathy and understanding your partner's perspective, encouraging your partner to pursue their interests and spend time with friends, isolating your partner from their friends and family, expressing gratitude and appreciation for your partner's efforts.
Isolating your partner from friends and family.
That's what I put.
Okay. How might toxic behavior affect your partner in the relationship? By fostering trust, emotional intimacy, and sense of security, by promoting open communication and conflict resolution, by causing emotional harm, eroding trust, and creating a hostile environment, by encouraging mutual growth and support in personal goals.
Did you pick already?
By causing.
Yeah, I put by causing emotional harm, eroding trust, and creating a hostile environment. It seems so simple when you're reading it, like in this quiz, but it's not that easy when you're actually in the relationship to see some of that stuff.
That's true.
Which action demonstrates a non-toxic approach to disagreements? Yelling, blaming, and refusing to listen to your partner's viewpoint. Taking time to cool off before discussing the issue calmly and respectfully. Discussing concerns privately and seeking compromises together. Acknowledging your mistakes and discussing potential solutions. Ooh, here's a good one because I feel like a couple of these could be non-toxic.
I feel like taking time to cool off before discussing the issue calmly and respectfully. I feel like that's non-toxic. Like you do that often.
But I feel like there's a couple discussing concerns privately and seeking compromises together. Acknowledging your mistakes and discussing potential solutions.
Well, I pick one, you pick one.
Yeah, sounds good.
Which one did you pick?
Potential solutions.
Okay.
Acknowledging your mistakes and picking potential solutions.
Okay. What role does self-awareness play in determining in your being? Yeah. What role does self-awareness play in determining if you're being toxic in the relationship?
Self-awareness is irrelevant in assessing toxic behavior. Self-awareness helps you understand your partner better without addressing your actions. Self-awareness enables you to recognize your behaviors and make positive changes. Self-awareness leads to blaming your partner for the relationship issues.
Obviously, it's self-awareness enables you to recognize your behaviors and make positive changes.
Ooh.
You think I was wrong about that?
No, I just got my results. Man.
I don't know about this.
I thought I was a green flag flying high. It says your relationship seems to be slightly strained. No.
You and your partner seem to struggle with communication and do not spend as much time as you should. Perhaps you should spend more time with friends or at work. Your partner may feel neglected, wanting to spend more time with you. Figure out the reasons that is making your partner feel distant. Together, you can work to deal with the issues and improve your relationships effectively.
This article is nice nasty.
It's nice nasty.
Oh, man. Well, I'm glad I'm only slightly toxic in our relationship. That's good.
Well, I'm slightly toxic too. So together we're toxic.
It's like Captain Planet.
Oh, our powers combined. Well, I'm so glad that you guys could be here for another episode for Are We Toxic? And we just recognize that we are very
Slightly.
toxic.
I think everyone's slightly toxic.
No, I guess this one said we were slightly toxic, but together we're toxic.
No, that's not how that works.
Yes, it is.
No. Together, we are non-toxic.
We're toxic.
You're just trying to start an argument. All right, guys. That was a pleasure to talk with you guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.